Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks 20 Minutes Roundup. I'm James Preston, and today I'll be sitting down with Mr. Mark Benson, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Saunders International Limited. Now, Saunders International is a multi-disciplined engineering and construction company catering to a wide range of industrial and infrastructure clients across Australia and the Pacific region. The company offers design, fabrication, construction, shutdown maintenance, and industrial automation services. And at 𝐊𝐿𝐴, we of course bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates, all under one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock markets and help to understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. So without further ado, it now gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show the Managing Director and CEO of Saunders International, Mr. Mark Benson. Mark, great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me, James.
Well, Mark, first and foremost, congratulations on the group's excellent performance during the 2021 fiscal year. Revenue crossing the $100 million mark and net profit tripling. What are the key factors responsible for such excellent performance?
Yeah, look, thank you for that. It's been a great effort by all the Saunders team. The result in FY21 has been exceptional, and growing revenues to $100 million has been a great achievement given the challenges faced over the last 12 months. Really, the increased earnings in this period is further supported by our strong profit to cash conversion, and the group is now entering the third year of its strategic plan where we reset our operating model. The first phase was to restructure the business and the way we operated, and we challenged our fabrication methodology and changed it out. And we had a panel of onshore and offshore fabricators. At the time, we employed a business improvement manager to champion the process of updating our systems, processes, and really implementing extra training to develop our people. The second phase of that growth, this was achieved through building a diversified order book and gaining more opportunities through our increased service offerings. So, really accessing more projects through more sectors that we operate in with the diversification strategy we had. So moving really from a tank and construction and maintenance business that mainly operated in the oil and gas sector, to a business that also provides now structural and mechanical works to civil and precast services. We specialise in bridge construction. We do industrial maintenance and shutdown services, and that recently added electrical instrumentation, control and design. So this is all backed up with our in-house engineering and design group. So look, this all came together in FY21, and we completed multiple projects in that period. And due to the excellent management by all our teams, we were able to deliver better than the estimated margins, and we were able to release unused contingencies. This really providing growth to our shareholders, which was great, and increased pricing, increased share price of 58% since July 20. And really, as part of that, they were rewarded with a special dividend of 1 cent. So that was on top of the 1.5 cent dividend. So total for 2.5 cents for the year. So yeah, look, it's been a good year, James.
Now, as part of that shift in the direction for the company, was there a particular impetus point where you sat down with the board and other directors and said, we need to change things up a little bit here? How exactly did that process come about, implementing those new phases?
Yeah, look, I was brought on board, nearly 6 years ago, and part of that was to diversify the business. We were very narrowly focused just in oil and gas with our tank maintenance and construction, and we had our 70-year birthday in August, so we have been around for a long time in that area. But being so narrowly focused in that area, when the oil and gas was hurting, we had nowhere else to run. So as part of that strategy, we wanted to get into infrastructure, into defence, into mining and minerals, and into the water, so that we can smooth out the ups and downs. And when something's up, something's down, our earnings continue on. So that was the main reason behind it.
Now, one thing that everybody is contending with at the moment is COVID-19, the pandemic itself, and then obviously the government response, which is enforcing restrictions and lockdowns, which is impacting a slew of businesses. What are some of the challenges that you've had to wade through as a company, and how have you risen to the occasion?
Yeah, look, we're the same as many other companies that have been affected by COVID-19. We found this lockdown more challenging than last year's lockdown. We're currently operating in most states of Australia, and the border closures have affected the movement of our personnel around Australia. It's caused logistic challenges, resources, material shortages. So look, as a company, my teams rose to the occasion, and through good planning and implementation of our company protocols, we've continued to navigate through these challenges. And with a focus on our commercial model, that what Saunders will only accept, we've been largely able to negate any major impacts caused by the price increases, the delay due to material shortages. So look, to this date, we've had no active cases of COVID-19. And our company vaccination rate is around the Australian average of about 38% vaccinated to date. So look, the summary, it's affected Saunders, but we've navigated through it quite well.
I think as part of that, what you've done is look to branch out into new territories, one of them very much being a territory, the form of the Northern Territory. You've established a new office there. Which other opportunities are you planning to tap into?
Yeah, look, we currently have 2 defence projects underway in Darwin, and that was one of the reasons to locate a new office up there. One of those projects is at the Larrakia precinct at the Darwin Naval Base. We're completing, a major project which consists of building some marine diesel tanks. We're doing civil works, doing electrical project, process automation and procurement. And we're doing the construction of the piping out to the wharf, so to enable the Australian Navy ships to fuel up. So look, we also are completing some other job at the Darwin RAF base, and it's some jet fuel tanks there. This work's being completed, for the joint forward posture force between the Australian and US governments. So there's a multiple defence projects due for construction over the coming years. The area north of Australia is becoming a high priority for the Five Eyes Alliance, which is members consist of the US, UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. So look, we see a lot of opportunity in that region, and now we're set up locally, and we're in a good position to support these works.
I suppose part of the focus for that region there, as you mentioned, is to do with the ever-increasing threat, realistically, of potential impacts from China. Now, how do you see those developments, I suppose, and how they're unfolding? Is that going to have more of a repercussion for what you're doing in that region? Do you think you'll have an increased activity there, or is it more along the lines of whenever there's a contract that's presented to you from particularly the Defence Force, do you respond to that?
No, look, there's projects out there at the moment that we know of, and we're currently in a tender phase, and that's developing more storage for the F-35s. Both there's a project for the US government, and there's a project also for the Australian government. So they're yet to be rolled out. There's quite a large facility to be built for the US government, and again, so that they've got somewhere in the vicinity of 300,000 megalitres of or 300 megalitres, sorry, of jet fuel. So again, when they're over this side of the world, they've got all these fancy toys, but without fuel, they're all pedestrians. So they need to they need to have that fuel supply if anything was to happen.
Absolutely. It's always good to be prepared. Now, another thing that you're preparing, of course, is quite a diverse portfolio of services that you do cater towards a number of industries. What's the core idea behind the acquisition of PlantWeave Technologies? Because that's quite new.
Yeah, look, that is new. We were working with PlantWeave Technologies on that project in Darwin I mentioned, and really the strategic rationale behind the acquisition of PlantWeave Technologies was to complete and round out our diversification strategy. So it now enters Saunders into that cyber security, that industrial automation systems, Industry 4.0 technologies, and really to access other technology-based infrastructure opportunities. So really, this will further diversify Saunders' service offering to our customers, and we'll be able to deliver industrial automation and technology solutions. Plant Weave will complement our tank and piping services within the refineries and the terminals that are due to be built. They'll also increase our exposure into the defence sector. So currently the defence sector's forecasting multi-billion-dollar spends over the next 5 to 10 years. So it'll give us the ability to expand and introduce new service and products to both that utilities, power and water utilities sections. And this now provides Saunders with the opportunity to scale the business through a balanced portfolio of works, and it'll really increase our reoccurring revenue opportunities and start to really future-proof the business.
Now, Mark, we've already touched briefly upon your results in the 2021 fiscal year, but you've also got a very strong balance sheet. And a lot of that is to do with contract pipeline and established clients in the blue chip space. Given those strengths, what's the group's strategic growth plans moving forward?
Yeah, look, after successfully delivering our first 2 phases of our strategic plan, we'll now concentrate on leveraging and scaling the business. So we're happy with the current level of diversification and the mix of the sectors that we operate in. So we now need to take these services and the track record of project delivery excellence, and really our strengthened balance sheet, should allow us to now secure larger, more integrated projects. And this will also mean that we'll look at opportunities with like-minded businesses for either partnerships or acquisitions that will increase our scale and our footprint. So really, in summary, it's now scaling our current diversified business and continuing to get market penetration into the sectors that we operate in.
Absolutely. Now, as part of that strong outlook that we've been discussing, you've got $83 million in your books as of the end of the financial year 2021. So how do you see the company tapping increased government spend into the infra, fuel storage and defence sectors? Is that still going to be primarily focused on that northern peninsula of the country?
No, look, it's right across the country. We're seeing good tailwinds across the business, services and sectors that we operate in. And although there's been some delay in the rollout of those projects because they all involve the government, we've continued to see significant opportunities across all our groups. And with our focused approach to the defence sector, we should see continued growth opportunities. We believe that our strategic position as one of the market leaders in the bulk liquid storage sector will see our business enjoy growth opportunities over the next 3 years. This will be helped to talk before about there's planned construction of approximately 780 megalitres of new storage for diesel, and that's part of the Boosting Australia's diesel storage program to increase the long-term security of Australia. So the government is investing $260 million in grants to expand Australia's diesel storage capacity. And as part of the commitment to boost the long-term fuel security, it creates jobs and keeps the fuel prices low. But what that means is this will convert into about $630 million of public and private sector investment into 10 projects across Australia, which have already been announced. And they're creating roughly 1,000 jobs and 40% increase in Australia's diesel stock taking. So all grant winners are currently clients of Saunders, and we look forward to further develop our existing relationships. So look, we're also on the infrastructure side. We're starting to see the flow through of the New South Wales Replacing Country Bridges program, and that's where the government has put forward about $500 million of grants to replace about 400 New South Wales country bridges over the next 2 years. So all these projects we feel we should be able to continue to grow and grow our order book over the next 3 to 5 years.
Mark, there's some big figures there, and there are plenty of projects in the pipeline. Just before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to share with our investor audience?
Look, as I mentioned before, I think the macro market conditions, currently unfolding, both state and federal government spending, is positive for Saunders over the coming years. Although there's been some delay, as I mentioned, in the rollout of those projects, we feel that we should start to see the benefit in the second half of this financial year and really see it flowing into FY23-24. So again, this will all be dependent on COVID-19 related border closures and the demands of resources, materials, and cost pressures caused by this increased infrastructure activity. But look, overall we feel positive, and at all levels of the Saunders One team, we're all here working very hard for our shareholders.
Well, let's hope we can get those borders open pretty quickly, but it does still seem to be a very bright future for Saunders. Mark, once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your time.
That's Mark Benson, the Managing Director and CEO of Saunders International. And if you'd like to browse the rest of our interview catalogue, simply head across to the YouTube channel 𝐊𝐶𝐞 Media. That's all for now. I'm James Preston, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise with 𝐊𝐶𝐞.